Hello, and welcome to Discovering Grace. Your life, my friend, it's a gift. You are beautiful, and you are so loved. Never forget that. Our life here on earth, it was given to us. It was love that gave and gives us life. We did nothing to deserve it. Someone loved you so much and thought you were enough, they put you on this earth. There's a deeper meaning as to why we're all here, and there's an even deeper meaning to all the good and all the bad times in our lives. You are a purpose in itself, and you have a purpose. Give thanks and be grateful for it all. For we were given life. We are alive and we are saved by grace. Remember, all you will ever need in this life is within you. It's right here. Keep soaring high like a bird and let that invisible presence, that force, guide you. It will protect you and it will give you strength. The gift of life, it's so sacred, and you are so loved. Today, I want to share with you the 3 sacred secrets of life. These 3 forces are above all, and nothing can destroy them, not even fear or pain. They actually have the power to destroy the fear and the pain in our lives. These 3 secrets have the power to heal. They have the power to flood life with beauty. They are the forces that make life extraordinary. Some call it magic, some call it luck, and some call it fate. Whatever you want to call it, they are inside us all, and we all have used and been impacted by these invisible forces. They are the powers that ignite our souls. We just have to choose to let them out and allow them to do their work in our lives. Today is the day these invisible forces become visible in your life. So let me first introduce to you the first secret. The first of the 3 sacred secrets of life is love. Without love, we would not be here. Love creates, it doesn't destroy. It mends what is broken. Love conquers all. It's the greatest of the 3 forces because without it, the other 2 forces wouldn't exist. You are made from love, and that you shall be. It's in our nature. Love is what binds us together and gives life to our bones. You can't tell me you don't have at least one memory in your life where you've been touched by love. Love is the foundation, the mother of all positive emotions. It is the mother of all. What is a life without love? It's a life of suffering. It's a life of being who you are not. Love is the core of what makes a beautiful state. It is the core of our being. When people die, what do we remember about them? What kind of thoughts do we find ourselves thinking about when we take the time to think about our dead loved ones? When we talk about them and reminisce with someone else, what do we say about them? What do we remember most about them? For those of us alive, do we spend most of our time thinking or talking about how much money, how many cars, or how much fortune they had? Or do we remember who and how they were as a person? We remember who and how they were. We remember if they were good or not. We remember if they were a loving person or not. When someone dies or is in the process of dying, we don't think about all the stuff they had. In those moments, we think about all the fun times we had with them, all the memories. We think about how much we loved them and how much they lit up our world. We think about how good they were to us and how much they impacted our lives. Love. Love is when you forgive. Love is when you put another person above yourself. Love is when you give. A life lived from love is a magnificent life. It's a life lived in a beautiful state. But maybe right now you're thinking, but Shelby, I have all this stuff, this junk that comes up. How do you expect me to be in a loving state all the time? I'm different. How do you expect me to feel love with this hurt I feel inside? I'm different. I'm broken. I can't feel love like everybody else. If you're thinking things like this, I have to stop you right here. And I have to warn you, I'm going to be blunt for just a moment. You don't feel the love you desire because you're not willing or you haven't faced what's stopping you from feeling it. This not being able to feel love is just a story you happen to make up. I'm going to challenge you here and ask you, and answer this from your heart, not your head. Is this story you're telling yourself, is it really true? Can you really not feel love? Or are you just choosing not to? Is it completely impossible for you to feel love? 9 times out of 10, we choose to not feel love because we fear it. We're scared we'll get hurt again, or we're scared to be or show who we are and get rejected. We put a wall up to protect ourselves from this hurt, this pain. If you're willing, answer these questions for me. Have you ever loved someone? Or have you ever told someone you love them out loud? If you answered yes, answer this now. After you said, I love you to them, have you ever found yourself obsessively making sure they said it back to you? Or if they didn't say it back, or maybe they did say it back, but it was in a way you didn't like, then you started to feel terrible sensations inside. Have you experienced this before? Maybe you had thoughts like, oh my God, they don't love me. I'm not good enough. I better get out of this before I get hurt. I knew it. They were cheating on me. I'm better off alone. Has these kinds of thoughts ever crossed your mind in that experience? Have you ever done this? We do this out of fear. Here in this place, our love is not true love. The love that we think we have, or the love we think we are giving, is not coming from love, but it is coming from fear. We love because we're scared we won't be loved and we need someone to love us. We don't acknowledge that we already have love inside. We are love, and we already are loved. We are scared. And to be honest, we are not giving love to give. We are giving love and saying I love you because we are expecting to get it back in return. You might love them, but there's an even deeper love to discover in your life. A love that gives to just give, and a love that gives love but doesn't expect anything back in return. A person who loves from true love and not fear gives love and doesn't expect it back in return. They know how to love themselves and feel love no matter what. They know they are loved, so they give it because they can. Our souls, they act from either two places, love or fear. Like love is the mother of all positive emotions. Fear is the mother of all negative emotions. Fear, many times, is the deep root and basis of all our negative emotions, our thoughts and actions. And on the other side of this, love is the deep root and basis for all our positive emotions, our thoughts and actions. When we ask ourselves why we do what we do, you will notice they go back to either being tied to love or being tied back to fear. These are the two forces that make our life a living heaven or a living hell. It is the thought behind the thought where your answer lies. It is the emotion behind the emotion you are feeling where your answer lies. It is the fear or the love that is directing your actions. It is from fear or it is from love that we see and live our lives from. For love to exist, one must know what love is not. To know love, one must know fear. Love and fear are the good and evil forces that the soul must choose between. My question to you now is, how do you want to experience yourself? How do you want to experience your life? Out of love or out of fear? Let me reassure you, you are here right now. What has happened in the past is done and gone. It's time now to accept it and let it go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. Letting go is about allowing the past to be the past and the present to be the present. Letting go is about moving forward, changing with life as it changes, and seeing the present for what it is. It is time to stop resisting. It's time to accept reality. It's time for you to love again. Love is what gives life to your soul. It is the greatest force that nurtures all. You were made from love. So go and be love. All of life was made from love. Give love to life, and life will give love to you. We are connected, and we are one, made from love. This leads me to the second sacred secret of life. After love comes contribution. The second secret is contribution. In order to feel love, you must give it. You reap what you sow. If you put out into the universe hatred, sorrow, selfishness, and pain, what do you expect to get back? Everything is connected. Every choice we make has an effect. Every thought you choose to think, every word you choose to speak has an impact on something else. Everything in your life is connected in some way or another. Unfortunately, a lot of what we say inside to ourselves comes back to hurt us. If we don't give back to others, do you think we'll receive what we want? You can't give what you don't have. If you don't know how to love yourself first, how then can you really experience loving another? Before you can make someone else happy, you must first learn to make yourself happy. Contribution is not just about giving to others. It also includes giving to yourself. It's a win-win kind of situation. You must, and I mean must, contribute to your own healing. Take a moment and look at your life in God's perspective. Don't you think that's what He would want? He didn't give you a life to live in suffering and pain. He gave you a life to love in, explore, laugh, and share time with others. So many people today are consumed in their suffering. Why not stand up together and end our suffering with love? When you heal, go out there and help someone else do the same. We are most alive when we're serving something higher than ourselves. Hands that serve are holier than lips that pray. Do you know how many people live their lives achieving everything, getting everything they want? The perfect house, family, job, car, vacation home, and yet they still feel empty inside. A lot of people feel this way, which I'm so sad to say. But do you know why so many people feel this way? It is because they are contributing solely to themselves. Many do things out of their own selfish ambition. A life alone is a life wasted. A life shared, like yours is mine kind of thing, is a life well lived. Only the one who lives their life knows their true motive. What kind of life do you want to live? What if your pain and suffering had a higher meaning? What if it was to give back to life? What if it was not to only serve yourself, but serve others for the greater good? Life is a very interesting thing. It gives us highs and it gives us lows. Why do you think that is? I believe, and I say this with all my heart, I believe there's a deeper meaning behind everything and to it all. All the good and all the evil, the tragedy, the prosperity, the love, the hate, the right, the wrong. Some call it fate, or it's just meant to be. But I believe there's a deeper meaning behind it all. People settle. They suffer. They blame. They deny. And they limit themselves. Don't let that be you. Life is too beautiful and too short to be trapped by these things. Life is too beautiful to be feared. On the other side of that fear is freedom. What if right and wrong was all just an illusion? What if you as the soul of your body, got to decide for yourself what was right and wrong to your life? What if you gave yourself that freedom? How would your life be if you gave yourself that grace, that freedom, that love? What if with love you remained open to others and allowed them to express what they thought was right and wrong for them? I believe when a person gives themselves this inner freedom, that inner grace to just be who they are, that is when magic happens. We are living right now. And in this life, all we have is now. My question to you now is, where do you want to live your life from? A suffering state or a beautiful state? Putting others down or lifting them up? And besides, who are we to judge others? No one is perfect, and no one has the right to tell us how to live our lives. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want your life to be about? Are you going to be the hero? Or are you going to be the victim? In order to live and have an extraordinary life, one must implement the final sacred secret of life. And that secret, the last of the 3 secrets, is consciousness. Consciousness is about bringing what you are unaware of to your awareness. Consciousness is how you get through your pain and your trials. It's about discovering the deeper truth behind everything. It's about finding inner truths for existence. Consciousness is how you love and how you contribute. Consciousness is what you use to express your soul. It's the force you use to execute your free will. Consciousness is how you heal and how you make an impact on the world for good. Consciousness is how you honor God, honor others, and how you honor yourself. A person who lets their mind control and deceive them is an unconscious one. A person who lets their emotions decide how they should feel is an unconscious one. A person under stress or who leads their life from a state of stress is an unconscious one. A conscious person responds rather than reacts to all situations. The key to your happiness is found in the present moment. How you get there is by using your consciousness. Two of the absolute best questions I ever asked myself during my healing journey after the death of my father was, first, what am I focusing on? And second, what else could this mean? What am I focusing on? What else could this mean? These 2 questions, they led me to where I am today. When my dad died, I was so trapped in my suffering. All I could focus on and think about was, you don't deserve this, Shelby. You're never going to be able to have a good life now. You can't live without him. You will never be happy again. I feared life and had convinced myself I was supposed to hurt for the rest of my life. I felt guilt, anger, jealousy, shame, self-pity, hatred, and paranoia. All I focused on was negativity, and all I focused on was myself. I feared and even hated love. So how did I heal and change? It was the moment I changed my focus. If you just look for the bad, what do you expect your life to be? Bad, right? You must change your focus if you want to improve the quality of your life. When I changed my focus, it was the moment I said yes to wanting to feel better. It was the moment I decided to step into my fear and see what was in the unknown. It was the moment I chose to change my story. It was the moment I decided I was going to give my dad's death a whole entirely different and new meaning. I was going to give that experience a meaning that served me, a meaning that served life. It was the moment suffering was going to stop controlling my life. When I started to change what I was focusing on, I caught myself over and over living in the past or in the future. I found myself never present in the present moment. My present had become diluted with past and future thoughts. No wonder life didn't feel real to me. Did you know that the past, present, and future, they're all connected? They are a part of each other. You can't have one without the other. And for you to know the true present moment, you must know what is past and what is future. All of this can be seen as inner aspects of our lives. That is, an event, thought, or action in our life can be explained with all three of these terms. It flows and it is connected, past, present, and future. We face struggle and problems in our lives when we separate these time frames. When we do this, we cause separation inside ourselves. We're not in flow and we become disconnected. When this happens, maybe we spend most of our time and energy stuck in the past, or we're constantly caught up in the future. As you can see, both are missing the present and the other time frame. And that was exactly what I was guilty of. Life didn't feel real because I wasn't connected to it fully. It wasn't until one day I found this truth. Every morning, I like to start my day by going for a run. It's my me time. It gives me energy. And I love jamming out to music and just being connected to life. It's a time where I can just allow my thoughts to flow, and it's a time for me to be with God. I've been doing it for years, and I'll probably do it until I can't anymore. Running. Running was actually one of the things that kept me alive when I was consumed in my grief and being the way I was after my dad had died. And I'll never forget it, but on one particular day, while I was running, something spectacular happened. I can remember the previous night had been, it was so rough. It was terrible. I was missing my dad so much, and I felt so alone. So when I woke up that morning, and I put my running shoes on, and I started to run, I felt tired as I ran. And as my thoughts flowed in my mind, my dad kept coming up. I started thinking about all the fun times. I started to laugh just seeing his smile. But as I kept on running, those thoughts, they slowly started to change from happy ones to sad ones. Images of me crying and holding on to my dead dad's hand while he laid in the coffin started to absorb my mind. My energy started to decline, and I could start to feel the sharp pain inside my heart start to unleash. Fear overwhelmed my shaken soul as I anticipated the panic attack that was about to come full-blown. But in that moment, all of a sudden, over my headphones, one of my dad's favorite songs began to play. Wonderwall by Oasis, if you've heard it. It felt like I had been struck by lightning. Tears fell from my face as I started to listen to the words and run. It was almost like, if you've ever seen the movie How the Grinch Stole Christmas, you know, at the end of the movie where Cindy Lou Who, she does something that touches the Grinch's heart, and all of a sudden his cold ice heart just breaks and begins beating with such a strength and warmth. That is exactly how I felt. I felt a burst of love just shoot through my entire body. And that song kept singing and playing the guitar. You're gonna be the one that saves me. You're my Wonderwall, over and over. All I could see was my dad staring at me with a huge smile on his face. My soul and my heart, it felt like it had been healed. I felt no more pain, and I finished my run that day with a new focus and a new meaning. My life from that day forward was never the same again. From that moment forward, I knew I was going to be okay. I realized that day I was not meant to live a life of suffering. I was meant to live a life of love and happiness. My dad wouldn't want me to be living the way I was. That day, I decided to live my life in honor of him. I made a commitment to myself. I was going to live the most magnificent life for myself because that's what he would want. The death of my dad, it's a very sad thing, yes, and I do miss him all the time. But I have no fear because I have faith. And I have faith I'll see him again. My love changed from being out of fear to being out of love. When I changed the meaning of my dad's death, that was when I began to heal. I consciously chose to implement my free will. I consciously chose love and contribution. When we die, and we all do at some point, the only thing we get to take with us is what we gave. All that other stuff, it stays right here. And when I die and meet eyes with God, knowing it, I gave everything I had, I hope to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant, well done." I'll let you in on a little secret that all people should hear. Our brains and our bodies, they do not know the difference between what is really happening in front of us in the outside world and what we are imagining inside of us. They interpret both as real. Because of this secret, we have the ability to make our lives magnificent or a living hell. For example, we experience a trauma or lose a loved one for real in life. Our bodies and our minds, they experience the suffering. Unfortunately, after the event has passed, we innocently tend to cause ourselves even more suffering. We do this by constantly thinking about it and reliving the experience. We go into survival mode and keep replaying and reliving the event over and over. And because of this, we experience the suffering all over again. Our bodies get filled with stress hormones, aches and pains, and much, much more. We then begin to focus all of our attention on the bad over and over again. Day after day, we do this to ourselves. Fortunately, however, for you now that you know this, you have the opportunity to put an end to your suffering. You have the opportunity to take the control back from your mind. You have the chance to transform these scars, these traumas held in your heart and your mind, and transform them into beautiful, empowering things. You have the opportunity to nurture and heal your mind, your body, and your soul. You have the power to use these 3 sacred secrets of life to heal and to thrive. So, if you were to choose to use these 3 secrets of life, love, contribution, and consciousness, what would be different in your life? What would be your life story now? How would you feel? What would your life be like? What would be the meaning of your loss? What would be the meaning of your pain and suffering? What would be different? And what would you give? What if all of this was for the greater good? These questions, they're all just good questions to consider on your pathway to healing. So to end today's video, what I would like you to do is to write a letter to the person or persons you lost. Tell them anything. Tell them what you miss most about them, what you love about them, what you're feeling guilty over, what made you angry, what you're forgiving them for, what you're forgiving yourself for, or what you're going to do to continue to live in honor of them, what insights you've gained, what meaning you've given their death. Write down anything that comes to you. And then, when you're done with that, a couple hours later or the next day, read your letter that you wrote out loud to yourself or to someone you love and trust. And then, what I'd like you to do after that is to sit down and write a letter back to yourself, writing everything you believe your loved one or loved ones might write back to you after getting your first letter. And when you're done, give thanks and celebrate yourself. Celebrate this beautiful gift we call life. Just celebrate and give thanks. So thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. And I'll see you in our next video.